Hi, welcome back to Talk of the Town. Running for Solicitor of the 14th Circuit, which includes Beaufort, Allendale, Colleton, Hampton, and Jasper counties, Angela McCall-Tanner stops by the show to explain her platform for the position. Angela, welcome to the show.
Thank you for inviting me.
Certainly. So, first of all, tell us what a solicitor is.
Well, solicitor is an old English term. South Carolina chooses to use that. It's kind of cute, it's quaint. In most states, it's referred to as a district attorney or a state's attorney, but bottom line is we're prosecutors.
And introduce yourself, give us your background.
Well, if the accent isn't giving me away, I was born in South Carolina, but I'm from the upstate. It's a little town in the foothills of the mountains between Greenville and Spartanburg. It's Greer. My family is still there. I was the first one to put myself through college. I graduated from the College of Charleston in 1995, and then I went straight on to law school, University of South Carolina. Graduated there in 1998. I got my first real big job here in Beaufort County in 1999. I was hired by Solicitor Murdoch, and I'm told I was Beaufort County's very first female assistant solicitor.
Isn't that incredible?
So that was interesting.
Yeah.
And so this is where I started in 1999, and I stayed here for 12 years. In 2006, I was promoted to deputy solicitor, and what that means is I was basically your chief trial lawyer here.
Okay.
And I was a mentor and supervisor for the other attorneys there. I was also cross-appointed by the federal attorney's office, so I was a special U.S. attorney for a little while. So I'm a little bit tougher than I look. I left in 2011, I entered private practice for a little while, and then I got an opportunity to work with the Bluffton Police Department. Okay. I was on the civil side of the house. I wasn't a police officer running around with a gun, but I handled policy and procedure, oversight, the budget, internal affairs investigations, things like that. In the last 2 years, I've been a magistrate judge for Beaufort County. I was selected by Senator Davis and then appointed by the governor, and have held that position ever since.
Wonderful. So you're married to Beaufort County Sheriff P.J. Tanner. Would that affect your job as solicitor?
No. And I don't know, I get that question. It is a unique situation, and people do like to ask that question. And I want to explain, because people ask if it's a conflict of interest, and it's not. That's the wrong word. We have law enforcement and prosecutors share the same interest. We're both seeking justice at the end of the day. And quite frankly, we are required to share information and communicate and talk. Now, if I were a defense attorney, I could see that my client wouldn't want me sharing his secrets with the sheriff. Certainly. That would be a conflict of interest. But when you're on the same side and you're supposed to share information, there's no conflict. And quite frankly, 10 of the 12 years I worked at the solicitor's office, I was married to him. So it's already been done. It's been tested. I had a lot of success as a prosecutor, and it never came into play. It's never been an issue. I understand why people ask that question, but it's not a conflict. And quite frankly, if God forbid you were a victim of a crime, would you want your prosecutor to have a good relationship with the sheriff's office or not? So I actually think it's a good thing.
And so what made you decide to run for solicitor, and what played into your decision?
Well, it was actually a process. When I left, it was with a heavy heart. I always loved being a prosecutor, and I felt connected to it. But I tried other things, and I don't regret the decision to leave, because it did enhance my perspective. I learned a lot of things and met a lot of great people. But it was always in the back of my mind, to be a prosecutor. And I had made all of these relationships over the years, and I had conversations over the years about what was going on with the office. People would bring me things and say, it's just not like it was when you were there. This doesn't happen. We don't have this kind of relationship. No one communicates with us. And so about a year and a half or so after I left, I actually reached out to someone who still worked there and said, hey, I'm hearing these things. You might want to just pay attention that people are complaining. You're not communicating. And this is from judicial staff to clerks to law enforcement to victims who were still remaining when their cases were open when I left. And they ignored my letter. Never heard back. And over the years, I've continued to hear those complaints that perhaps there is a communication problem. And when I was with the Bluffton Police Department, I saw it firsthand. I never saw, maybe once, an attorney actually came to the Bluffton Police Department to meet with investigators. I never had anyone come and look at evidence. I was over the evidence department. And that's something as a prosecutor I did every week. And I didn't understand what was changing in the office, that they were avoiding that and not doing it that way. And then from the bench, I'm back in the circle with judges and other lawyers who I'd worked with and heard the same things. They're not communicating with them either. And so people would say, well, why don't you run? Why don't you come back? We loved working with you. And I thought, well, I'm not a politician. You have to go through a campaign to get that job, and I'm not polished. I don't do that. But I had a couple of friends say very poignant things to me. One friend said, we don't regret the things we do, or we try. We regret the things we don't try. And that hit home, and I thought, you know what? Why not me? And why not now? Because I think there is time for a need for change right now.
Angie, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. And we'll be right back with Talk of the Town.